Welcome to Bronze and Modern Gods. I am John.
And I'm Richard.
And this is a bonus episode, Friday time. You know how it is. We answer your questions. We take your comments. We chat a little bit. It's bonus episode, Friday, right?
Right.
Okay. We don't
People
need to
watching
say
forever. You know how this goes.
Yeah. Hey, if you aren't following us on Facebook and Instagram, why not do so at Bronze and Modern Gods? And if you want to support the channel and show your friends and tell your mom, hit like, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, get a flag to fly from the back of your pickup.
Oh,
You know,
God.
you know all those
You
things.
had to tell your mom, and then you had to go to the pickup flag.
It's one of those days. So no Instagram Market Watch this week, no Ali this week, because Elite_Comics 11 is having their AdCon this week. It is almost 24 hours around the clock of live sales. So if you're not following Elite_Comics 11 on Instagram, now is the weekend to do so. Kind of crazy. If you might see us in the chat, do that. And let's not waste not, want not, whatever not. It's viewer mail.
You've got mail.
Richard, start us off.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank all the people who've commented here, and we're going to read their comments. They left some really awesome, detailed comments. Unfortunately, I had to edit some of these a bit just to fit the show format. But people talked about their collections and how they started collecting, and that's awesome. I love that reading that stuff, and it helps me get a feel for our audience.
Yeah, we read them all.
We do. We actually do. This is from Mumble Ranting. Cut down his a bit, and I'm going to read the part that I'm going to respond to. I really want to get a copy of Ultimate Fallout 4, at least a 9.6 before Miles comes to the MCU, because the prices will be out of my reach. Now, as much as I want the first printing, the prices are double the second prints, and there are less of the second prints that were made. As someone who is investing for the long term, which one would you get? Okay. I thought about this for a while, and I came up with 5 different answers, and it really depends on what your long-term goals are. If your long-term goals are maximum return, I would recommend biting the bullet and getting the Ultimate Fallout 4 first print. I think
In a lower grade.
In a lower grade, and I think the value of that is going to be the one that has the highest velocity. Just because people want to collect the first print. I mean, that's just human nature, is to go after that first print. You can also take advantage of the fact that that first print has if you don't press it, it has a defect on the back cover, and a book that may be graded an 8.0, really, if you take it out and press it, ends up being a 9.6, 9.4. So there's that kind of opportunity there too. So first print is my first choice. Second print is a good buy if you're looking for something that's a little more value, a little more cost conscious. Either one of the first prints or second prints are good, but the Pacelli variant, which is the white background cover, is always going to be less of a value than the other book, because the other book looks like the first print. That's unfortunate. I personally, I like the Pacelli variant. I think it's a good close up of his face, but those are the rules. If you want something different, then I would look to the La Mole foil version, which is a Mexican variant that came out last year, I think it was. Gosh, time flies.
I think it's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years? Okay.
Yeah.
You can find it on eBay. It's a little expensive. You're probably talking about $400-500. But this book is amazing. It's a gorgeous book. And it really has held its value for a foreign print. There was only 1,000 of them out there. And I think it's a good buy if you can find it at a good price, because it's one of those books that's going to continue, even with all these facsimiles out there. It's still managed to hold its value. And then finally, if you are looking for an underrated book, there is a version Djurjevic variant facsimile edition on the market right now. It's the 1 in 25 variant cover, but without the trade dress at the top. And it goes for someplace around $100. And I really think this is a sleeper, because the Djurjevic variant and a 9.8 now is around the $33,000 book.
Is that all?
Yeah, is that all? We had a talk. We had a show about is
Yeah.
Jajevich variant versus AF-15.
I think when we did that show, it was only 25,000 at
I
the time.
know. Uh,
So
yeah. So to me it's an undervalued book because it is that cover, but without the trade dress, and I think it looks better without the trade dress.
it's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can get that for less than $100, get it slabbed, and I can pretty much tell you that that book is going to go up in value. It may not go up as much as the second print, but you'll still get some investment quality cash out of that book. So those are my recommendations.
The regular Drajevic version and the regular cover newsstand version, they're just way out of anyone's league at this point, right? Unless you're just like a Russian oligarch that's hiding on his yacht.
Seriously, both of those books are five-figure books. If you have the budget to do it, and you can find one for at the lower end of the spectrum, I think there's still range for this book to go up in value, especially once Miles Silver's up in the NCU. But it's a huge ask to buy in. To buy
Oh yeah,
in on a book, a 9.6, for example, for the Jajevic variant is about a $10,000 book.
it's crazy that for a book from 2011,
The new
2000,
Yeah, 2011. The newsstand 9.6 is probably around the same value, if not
wow.
more, because there's only about, the rumors are there are only about 50 graded newsstands out there,
Mm.
which is unbelievably small for a book of this caliber.
And the newsstand, did the newsstand come polybagged?
No,
It
and
didn't.
that's
So that actually helps the condition. Okay, it's a newsstand, so it's getting pawed
right.
from the shelf. But if there's like if you give a stack of them on the newsstand, you grab the one from the back. You don't have to worry about that
Mm.
polybag grease on the newsstand. You mentioned the La Mole variant. I just want to remind everybody, La Mole is basically Comic-Con in Mexico City, and it is happening at the end of March. In 2 weeks from today, I will be at La Mole. I'm going to take the camera. We're going to get some footage. We're going to talk to some people, hopefully get some La Mole variants. And it'll be interesting. It's going to be my first foreign comic book convention.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah, every book, La Mole does more than just that one Ultimate Fallout 4 foil. They do a number of other foil facsimiles, and they're all gorgeous. There's just the quality of them is amazing.
I'm going to fill a suitcase.
It's going to look a little strange going through customs with an empty suitcase.
They're going to stop me for funny books, and they have too much time on their hands. All right. My first piece of viewer mail comes from our Facebook page, Bronze and Modern Gods on Facebook, and it is from Pierre from Montreal, Canada. I will not do an accent. I'm sorry. That's just awful. Hello, guys. My name is Pierre, and I'm from Montreal, Canada, and I watch you guys all the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a pretty big collector, and I used to own a comic shop in the 90s and now own the biggest vinyl shop in Montreal. Pierre, you're my best friend. Hi, nice to meet you. I have been looking for a Superman number 31 from the Golden Age for 5 years. I just love the cover, no other reason. I wanted to share with you something I noticed is problematic. Heritage Auctions has a Promise Collection 9.4 up for auction. If you look at scans of the book, you can see that it's not even close to being a 9.4 and got a preferential grade from CGC. I have been noticing that a lot of the Promise Collection books have been getting friendly grade bumps. What are your thoughts on this? Well, Pierre, have you been listening to the show lately? Because we have made several jokes about the Promised Collection, just in passing. I don't think we've really dug in and talked about it.
No.
All right, CGC Golden Age grading. There is a leeway. They've always graded Golden Age on a different curve than a modern book, okay? But I agree. Richard agrees. This Promise Collection stuff is blinking ridiculous on some of these grades. I mean, I look at some of the ones that get 9.8s, and there's big blunted corners and big spine ticks. I realize you're allowed 1 or 2 spine ticks on a 9.8, but some of these are absolutely ridiculous. Do I think there was something shady going on at CGC? I don't know. Define shady.
Yeah.
Do I think that there was a loosening of the standards? when the Promise collection came through, because it was such high value, high volume, and with a partner like Heritage Comics, sure.
Yeah, I think, it was a confluence of a number of things. I think CGC saw this as an opportunity for marketing. I mean, imagine a collection of, there's no escaping the fact that this collection of books for Golden Age books was amazing. I mean, they're really high quality books that just don't exist anywhere else in your.
Biggest since Edgar Church, the original collection.
Absolutely, it's amazing. Now there is a number of these books, and it was to CGC's advantage as well as Heritage advantage to have these books all grade high, because then they can make the statement about the special high grade collection. They marketed the crap out of that thing, and it's an opportunity for them to highlight their ability to do grading and their company, both Heritage and CGC, and just ride on the coattails of this collection. So it was to their advantage to have these books grade high. Now, how that affected the actual grading process? Did somebody put their thumb on the scale? We don't have that inside information. It just seems suspect. There's so many copies. As people get these books in their collection, they see that they're just not matching the grade that they're getting from CGC.
The proof is in the scan. That's all I have to say. And there is a history of this happening, whether CGC wants to admit it or not. How about the Invisible comic book from Bad Idea from a couple months ago, where they got to pick their grades from 3.5 to 10.0?
How apropos calling it a bad idea.
Yeah, do we get to pick our grades, CGC? If I shovel enough cash, if I back the Brinks truck up to Sarasota, these things are not good for CGC. They're just the optics are bad. I don't know if you follow us on Instagram at Bronze Modern Gods, you'll see that I sent 3 submissions in, and you guys know I press my books. You guys know I go over each submission with a big eye and a big magnifying glass. And for some reason, in this latest submission, it's all of a sudden I'm getting a bunch of books with finger bends on cover. Finger bends. They're not from me. How about that gorilla you got pawing through my books? Check the page count and everything. There were Mexican foil books I sent in where I was wearing my patented white cotton gloves that you guys make fun of me for on the comments of the pressing video. And I took every fingerprint off with a cotton round, and there were no bends on this. I looked over, they're foil. They're literal foil. You got to really bend it to bend it, right?
Right.
Every single one of them came back with fingerprints and finger bends. They magically appeared somewhere between the time I sent them. All right, enough CGC bashing. I can go on all day. It's not good right now.
No, all I want from CGC is, I have a bunch of books I've submitted. I just want those books to be graded by the same people that graded the Promise collection.
Yeah, right. Can we request graders? Because I really need a mob gorilla boss who graded my last 3 submissions to step off and, and I can read comments already, you guys. I agree with you. You're enabling them. You're sending them your books. Send them to CGC, EKG, whatever the heck that company is. PGX, so the guy in the garage can do it. No. There's no viable alternative yet in terms of resale. There's just not. You guys can argue all day long, but look at the numbers. The numbers and the data do not lie. Can we all get together and make a change? I don't know.
Yeah, they have so much. They just have so much cachet behind their name at this point. It's tough for someone to break in. It's like IBM back in the 80s. IBM PC was the brand. Good luck trying to compete with that.
Hey, DuckDuckGo is a better search engine. It protects your privacy. It gives you the same results. How many people here use DuckDuckGo?
Yep.
Okay. Richard, look behind you. How many of those slabs behind you are non-CGC?
0.
Okay. I mean, I wish there was a viable alternative. I do. Yes, there is a viable alternative, John. But okay, I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, there are alternatives, but if it to accept those alternatives also means you're accepting less of return on your investment.
Yeah, and I think my solution is I'm just not going to send them anything for a while. I
Yeah.
have a big stack right over here. I'm looking at my office right now, about 60 books I was getting ready to send. And now I'm like, no, I don't want finger bends all over them when they weren't there when I sent them in.
Yeah, yeah, I'm definitely slowing. There are some things that I will send books in. There was, for example, Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley.
Mm,
They're doing a combined signing. I had one Ultimate Fallout 4 first print that wasn't slabbed already. I pressed that book to hell.
yeah,
No, that
right.
book is missed. It's pristine. I think it's a 9.6.
Oh,
So
did you get cockling?
yes, I have not gotten a book with cockling on it yet. Thank goodness.
Butterfly flaring?
No, haven't gotten that either.
All these new problems are appearing on graders notes because we're pressing our own books and not using their pressing service. Somehow I'm of the belief that if I had used CGC's pressing service, I would not get those notes.
Okay. Until A, they lower their prices on their pressing services, and
I'm
B,
never going to use their pressing services. There's no A B. Sorry. I'm stopping
no,
right here. Mod Gorilla Boss manhandling my books is also running the friggin' press.
yeah, and it adds 30 to 60 days to your overall grading time. It's just not worth it. I'd much rather spend a couple of days and press a book correctly, know that it's pressed correctly, and ship it off than to cross my fingers with my, potentially $2,000 book that some guy at CGC is going to do as good a job as I can.
I, I'm not happy.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm not
I'm not
surprised.
happy. And if anyone from CGC or Sarasota wants to come on this show,
Yeah.
it is a welcoming space for you to give your counter. Eh,
Hey,
I, I'm not here to attack a guest. I'm here to question a guest.
right.
And
Let's get some
say,
answers. I got
right,
$1,200 worth of grading fees in a set of books I just submitted, and for $1,200, I expect quality. I expect them to give me an accurate and justified grade, not to give me finger bends and
cockling.
cockling. And you know, I can accept that the books that I send in I may have misgraded them, um, but come on, sometimes you just know a book is of a certain quality, and to get something 4 grades lower than that just doesn't pass the sniff test.
I, I never I've tried my best not to be the guy that says, I know these books didn't have any problems because, I miss stuff. I'm
Yeah,
human. I make mistakes. I own up to my mistakes. It's the Mexican foil variants. I specifically went over those like several times to make sure they were pristine 9.8 candidates.
yeah.
And have them come back with finger bends and fingerprints when they were not there. Sorry, that was you. That wasn't me. All right. All right, Richard. Sorry. You go. Oh, gee, I'm looking at your next one. I think we're going to stay on this subject.
A little bit. Next one is from Jeff. This was an email. Hey guys, I know that the long term turnaround times for CGC are the norm, but I'm wondering how long is too long before I think a call or an email to CGC is needed to try to find out the status of your books. I've heard tales of people getting books back after over a year of waiting. Yes. While my wait time is so far is a mere 8 months and counting, should I be getting worried or just wait it out? Okay. Well, Jeff, you didn't say whether or not the books were showing up on your account as being received. That's the real big factor. Because the time that it takes for your books to get graded are based on when they receive the book. So if it takes them 2 months to open your shipping package and enter your books in their database, that's just extra time that has to be eaten, unfortunately. Um, I say that to say if your books have been received and you feel that they've been there in an inordinate amount of time, give them a call. I would send them an email because I'm sure they're swamped. My first submission, which happened, I don't know what, 3 years ago now, I could still remember it. It was a giant size X-Men #1. I found on eBay. I cleaned and pressed that puppy, and I sent it off express to get my book back. And it took longer than I expected. And I gave them a call. I gave them a call. Had my order number handy, and they looked it up and they told me everything's fine. Your book is here. Um, it just takes time to go through the system, and it gives you that level of comfort. If you feel that you need that, give them a call. What's the worst they're going to say? Just be prepared for it to take some time for them to give you a response. My attitude is, if it shows up in the system as received, just get a comfy chair, get yourself a nice drink, and be prepared to wait. It depends on the grade, or on the tier that you selected, but their turnaround times now are anywhere from 200 days on the high end down to, I think it's 7 days for a walkthrough, which still is ridiculous. When I first started, walkthroughs were the same day. So there's just so much time you have to deal with. If you're submitting books for a press or for pre-screen, be prepared to add another 30 days to your wait. And remember, 30 days, the days that they're talking about are working days. They're not weekends, or holidays. So they're not calendar days. Um, yeah, so just be patient. To me, patience is 6 months. If I haven't heard or had seen any movement in 6 months, it's time for me to poke the bear. Just give them an email and ask them the status of the books. I'm sure they'll give you an update. It will most likely be just what the website says. But I have had a case where I had a mouth. It was a manufacturing error. Basically, I had a book that I needed to reslab because they had the wrong label. I sent the book in. They did it for free. It took it was in there for like 3 months, and I sent them an email asking them about the status of that book, and then miraculously the next day the book shows up as shipped. So sometimes
You beat me to it, because I've had books scheduled for grading, and I'm a sucker. I admit it, you guys. I'm a sucker. I pay fast track every time. I don't want to wait. It's ridiculous. So I'll eat the extra cost just to get my books back. Um, and they'll be scheduled for grading, scheduled for grading, scheduled for grading for like 3 or 4 weeks. And I'll call, and oh, you know what? Your books are actually going in for grading tomorrow. How did that happen? Just how weird that I just happened to call. Jeff, call him.
yeah,
Call him.
give them a call. Can't hurt. Let's put it that way. They're not going to punish you because you reached out to ask them a question. And
Sometimes the bird has to be pushed out of the nest.
I'm with John. I always do fast track. I cannot think I would be. I'm just not patient to wait 150 days, 200 days for my shipment to be graded. That's just,
Right.
I just can't do that. And especially with the books that I typically send in, there is enough profit in there that an extra 20, $30 isn't a huge factor.
All right, let's move away from CGC for a second for our next piece of viewer mail from David Powell, who writes, "My understanding is that CGC, geez. My understanding is that CGC doesn't slab 2000 AD issues from this era." We were talking about the first appearance of Judge Death
Right.
on the last show, as they are too big even for the magazine slabs. Yeah, I found that out when Richard sent me a scan, and I saw the size of this thing. I was like, oh yeah, they're not going to slab that. I have this, and I agree with the Judge Death spec, as well as the other Dark Judges. I am also interested in Mr. Machine / Machine Man and a Jack Kirby classic, hoping for him to turn up in Armor Wars. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be amazing. I think Machine Man Aaron Stack would be a good standalone DC Plus series. I think you kind of need that background. You need to know where he comes from. Just you don't expect to see the monolith. little
Little
Stanley
licensing problems. Yeah.
Yeah, a little MGM Stanley Kubrick issue there, perhaps. All right, Richard, what's your next piece of viewer mail?
My next piece is from Brad Horner. I also had to cut this down a little bit, Brad. I appreciate you giving me a background. It was really interesting to read. And thank you so much for being a fan of the show. We really appreciate it. Um, I have a son going to university in 2 years and wanted to help with the costs. Neither of my kids are interested in comics. Neither are
You
mine.
have failed as a parent.
I have about 5 to 10 sentimental books, some valuable, some not, that I would like to keep. Okay, it's good to know what your core books are. Everything else I was planning on selling. Just realized I have no idea what to do or where to start. I am in Canada, so I know that doesn't help. I thought about eBay, but then I heard about the high costs and headaches. Then all of those apps and auction houses, but again, don't know what would work for me. Thought of IG, but don't have a YouTube channel or a following. Thought of mystery boxes, but how long will it take to sell books at $50 to $100 a mystery box? I have some nice books such as an ASM 129, 7.5, Avengers Annual 10, a 9.8, maybe 10 to 15 books over $1,500 at FMV, and lots between. But how do I maximize my 40 plus years of collecting? Don't really know how to start. Any help would be much appreciated. Okay, Brad. My feelings on this is, first of all, shipping to Canada should or from Canada isn't something to be afraid of. The custom form is literally 10 seconds to fill out. The biggest thing that you need to be aware of is that you want to charge the actual shipping cost and not a flat fee, because you can end up losing money on the shipping. Um, that's what I do when I ship to Canada. Me personally, I stay away from mystery boxes because it's a tough sell if you don't have a following or a reputation, to convince people that they want to spend $100 on a collection of books that you have chosen when they don't know who you are. Also, I don't have any personal experience with mystery boxes, but to me, it seems like you would end up with more than your fair share of unhappy buyers who just didn't get what they wanted, who may dispute charges, who may come back and want a refund. And there's to me, all kinds of problems when you're dealing with that type of transaction. Um, if you're looking to sell slab books, me personally, I like Shortbox. Shortbox is an app in the App Store, that allows you to scan in your books and sell them on a market in the app. The process is painless. They cover the shipping. The fees are reasonable. I've sold a lot of books through Shortbox. I've worked with them personally. I think they're great guys, and it's an awesome idea, or awesome option. Another one is My Slabs. It's the site that is sponsored by CGC. Allows you to sell slabs for a 1% commission, which is awesome. It gets good visibility because CGC advertises them.
No conflict of interest there whatsoever.
None at all. None at all.
They should start a pressing service too.
Raw books are low bar tricky. Hipcomic.com is a good site. I always find good books there. I believe has good exposure. There's another site I've used, and this is one of my honey holes that I find, atomicavenue.com.
Don't tell people.
I know. I'm helping this guy. I got it.
Okay, fine. Give away my.
It's a great site for listing a lot of raws, and you have good company there. There's good sellers there, and it's a good opportunity for someone who doesn't want to spend their day selling comic books. They want to put them out there and turn around and sell them. Another option is consignment. We know one of our buds is Elite Comics 11. They do a great job. I sold a number of books through Elite underscore Comics 11. Painless transaction. It's nice having a middleman, especially for those $1,500 plus books. They'll stand behind you if there's an issue, and their fees are reasonable. And it's a great way of selling on Instagram without having to have a following of your own. And finally, there is eBay. I mean, eBay is always they're the hugest market on the planet in terms of just raw book sales, but you pay through the nose when it comes to fees. You pay taxes on your fees, which it just irks me. And they're always I feel they undervalue their sellers and overvalue their buyers, and to the point where they will take the buyer's side on almost every conflict that you may have, and that to me puts them on the lower end of this list.
All right. So I have a few thoughts here. You're in Canada, Brad. You need to hook up with Pierre in Montreal. Pierre can help you out. I'm looking at your comment, and you got some keys. You said an ASM 129, an Adventure Annual 10. And then you say maybe 10 or 15 books over $1,500 fair market value. That's not a lot. I say sell those 10 to 15 books using the sites or the consignment ways that Richard mentioned, and then really look at the rest of your books. What's worth something, and by worth something, I mean over $100, and set those aside. This is going to be a long-term play for you. This is not an overnight thing.
Right.
Anything under, I don't know, it's hard to say. Anything under $50, put those, yeah.
She-Hulk #1 was under $50.
I know, but what is he going to do? Sit on it for another 20 years, 30 years, 40 years?
Yeah.
Till it's worth something? All the stuff under $50, put them in bulk if you've got a lot of books, and then find a dealer, to take it in bulk and just eat that. You're going to eat it. It's that simple. No one's going to want to buy stuff from you for the fair market value, but if you want to get rid of it, that's the best way. Anything over $50, between $50 and $250, I'd put on eBay. Just do it. Blow it out, get some cash. You're eating the fees, but they're all lower value books. But the big stuff, use the things that Richard said. It's a slog. It's not easy.
It's not. You got to look. He's talking about a college career, so he's got at least 4 years to unload these books. And I wouldn't mind having a long tail income. So list those books on eBay or on Hip Comics early, and just leave them there, and they'll trickle. It may take a while for them to sell, but you'll make more that way than you will make if you sell them to a dealer who's going to buy them in bulk. You've got time. I mean, it's not like you need to turn these books around and sell them within the next 6 months.
You've got time and help. You have a son that's going to university in 2 years. So I'm assuming he's 16 years old and he's not into comics. Well, here's a great bonding time with dad. Guess what we're going to do, buddy? We're going to make some money for you to go to university.
That's right. So
I'm going to teach you how to scan a book. I'm going to teach you how to list something on eBay. I'm going to teach you how to look up the value and post it. You split the duties up. The kid wants to go to college, earn it.
Right. They sell that book. That book represents a poli-sci textbook.
I went into the friggin' army for 4 years to earn money for college. Your son can help you sell some comic books to go to college.
Yep.
You don't want me for a dad. All right. My last piece of viewer mail comes from Fight the Good Fight. Fights in all caps. That's why I said it that way. Great stuff as usual, guys. Thank you. If a barcode, we're talking about facsimiles. We're trying to not get ripped off from a facsimile book that's listed on eBay. If the barcode is visible and in high enough resolution in the picture on the listing, one way to help prevent getting facsimiles is to scan it using the CLZ app. Richard, I never thought of this. This is actually brilliant. Mm-hmm. I've done it several times right from my computer monitor, and it accurately identifies the variant/reprint. That is an elegantly simple solution.
That is awesome. Yeah. If the image, one of the things these people do is they don't take very high resolution images because they're trying to obfuscate. But if it's high enough, this is a great idea.
If it's not a high enough resolution image, then you don't have to buy it. Period.
Yeah, that's true.
So problem solved. But that is a good idea. Fight the good fight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Like we said, no Instagram Market Watch this week because AtCon is happening right now at elite_comics11 on Instagram. So go check that out. Go support Ali. Hopefully he will be back to join us next week for a bonus episode. And until then, we will see you on Monday.
Okay. Everybody stay safe.